What you are about to hear is not a typical spring weather story. Meteorologists are tracking a low-pressure system that has the potential to break May records across the prairies. If this system intensifies below 980 millibars while crossing the central prairies, it could become the most intense May low-pressure system ever recorded. And with that kind of intensity comes wind gusts of 80 to 100 kilometers per hour and beyond across Alberta and Saskatchewan. Transport trucks at risk. Power outages likely. Snow returning in time for the long weekend. And a temperature crash so dramatic that parts of Manitoba are going to see a nearly 20-degree contrast between north and south on the same day. This is not a forecast to glance at and move on from. This is the forecast you need to understand before Thursday arrives. Good morning. Let us get into it. We begin with the system itself, because the scale and the potential intensity of what is coming deserves to be clearly understood before we get into the regional details. A powerful low-pressure system is forecast to sweep across the prairies on Thursday, and it is carrying with it the ingredients for a historic weather event. The critical threshold that meteorologists are watching is 980 millibars. If this system deepens below that level while tracking across the central prairies, it crosses into territory that would make it the most intense May low-pressure system on record for this region. Record-breaking low-pressure systems are not just a number on a map. They are significant because of what that pressure gradient produces. Tight pressure gradients mean violent winds. They mean precipitation that arrives fast and heavy. They mean conditions that can shift from manageable to dangerous in a very short window of time. This system has all of those characteristics and it is on its way. Residents across Alberta, Saskatchewan, and Manitoba need to hear this clearly right now. Secure any loose outdoor objects before Thursday arrives. Patio furniture, trampolines, garbage bins, signage, anything that wind can pick up and turn into a projectile needs to be brought inside or tied down. And prepare for the possibility of power outages. This is not a precautionary suggestion. Given the wind gusts being forecast, power disruptions are a realistic outcome for communities across the prairies on Thursday and into Friday. Now let us walk through the timeline region by region so you know exactly what is coming and when. Alberta is first in line and northern Alberta is facing the most significant rainfall totals in this entire forecast. Rainfall amounts in northern Alberta could reach 30 to 60 millimeters as this system pushes through. That is a substantial number and it carries with it a real risk of localized flooding. If you are in northern Alberta and you live near a low-lying area, near a creek or a drainage basin, you need to be paying attention to this through Thursday. 30 to 60 millimeters arriving with a fast-moving and intense low-pressure system does not give water time to drain. It pools, it flows, it finds the low spots. Be aware of your surroundings and know your exit if conditions deteriorate. For the rest of Alberta, the rain transitions along the Rockies and toward the foothills into snow as that colder air begins to infiltrate behind the system. The foothills, the mountain passes, the higher terrain that has already seen significant accumulation this week, all of it is in line for more snow as this system moves through. And the winds across Alberta through Thursday are going to be violent. Gusts of 80 to 100 kilometers per hour and beyond. Those are not strong winds. Those are damaging winds. The kind that bring down trees, snap power lines, and make driving on exposed highways genuinely dangerous. If you do not have to be on the road in Alberta during the peak of this system on Thursday, stay home. Now we move into Saskatchewan, where Thursday is going to be defined by two things working simultaneously. Heavy rain and ferocious wind. Rain showers along with localized bands of moderate to heavy rain are expected to move through Saskatchewan on Thursday as that strengthening low tracks across the province. This is not uniform light rainfall spread evenly across the region. These are bands, concentrated corridors of heavier precipitation that can drop significant amounts in a short period of time and then clear just as quickly. Those bands bring their own localized flooding risk on top of everything else this system is delivering. And then there are the winds. Gusts of 80 to 100 kilometers per hour and beyond are going to impact Saskatchewan through Thursday. That puts Saskatchewan in the same category as Alberta in terms of wind danger, and the combination of heavy rain and violent gusts is going to make for a genuinely treacherous day across the province. By late Thursday, those damaging winds begin to extend westward into southwestern Manitoba as the system continues its eastward track. The window of the most dangerous conditions is Thursday, and in Saskatchewan that window is going to be wide open for most of the day. The overnight transition from Thursday into Friday is where the story in Saskatchewan takes another turn. As cold air forces south through the pre-dawn hours of Friday, that rain is going to transition to snow and icy precipitation across far northern Saskatchewan. Between 2 and 5 centimeters of snow is forecast across parts of northern Saskatchewan, with locally up to 10 centimeters possible. Snow and icy precipitation in the pre-dawn hours on a Friday morning in May is exactly the kind of conditions that catches drivers off guard. If you are heading out early Friday morning in northern Saskatchewan, check the roads before you go. Now we come to Manitoba, and Manitoba is where this forecast delivers one of its most striking contrasts. Friday is going to feature a temperature difference of nearly 20 degrees between the northern and southern parts of the province on the same day. In the south, temperatures are going to be hanging on to near 20-degree warmth. In the far north of the province, daytime highs are going to be sub-freezing. Below zero during the day. In May. On the same Friday. In the same province. That contrast tells you everything you need to know about just how dramatically this system is going to divide the atmosphere across Manitoba. The winds arrive in Manitoba late Thursday as the system pushes east, and they continue through Friday. Gusts of 50 to 70 kilometers per hour are still likely Friday across southern Saskatchewan and Manitoba and through northern sections of the province through the day. These are not the violent 100 km per hour gusts that Alberta and Saskatchewan face on Thursday, but 50 to 70 is still enough to cause damage, still enough to bring down weakened branches. Still enough to make driving uncomfortable and potentially dangerous on exposed roads. The snow that transitions in the overnight hours across far northern Saskatchewan is also going to push into parts of Manitoba through Friday, with 2 to 5 centimeters forecast and locally up to 10 centimeters possible. Cold air is not subtle with this system. It is arriving quickly and it is arriving hard. Now let us look at the long weekend, because this is what so many Canadians are trying to plan around right now, and the picture is not an encouraging one. Below seasonal temperatures are going to be the defining theme for the long weekend across the prairies. Single-digit daytime highs are possible for some areas. For a May long weekend, that is a significant disappointment and a significant departure from what this week started out looking like. Those gorgeous mid to high 20-degree temperatures that Alberta was enjoying on Wednesday afternoon feel like a distant memory when you look at what the long weekend is bringing. The Rockies are facing ongoing snow through the long weekend, with chances for showers on and off throughout and an unsettled cool pattern settling in across the region generally. If you have mountain travel planned for the long weekend, winter tires or chains are not an overreaction. They are a reasonable precaution given what the forecast is showing. The mountain passes have already taken a beating this week, and more snow on top of that through the long weekend is going to create challenging travel conditions that could persist into Tuesday. There is also a broader concern embedded in all of this that goes beyond inconvenience and travel disruption. The wildfire situation that has been developing across parts of Alberta this week is going to be directly impacted by this system in ways that are both helpful and harmful. The rainfall arriving in northern Alberta and parts of the province could provide some relief on the fire lines. But the winds. The 80 to 100 plus km per hour gusts forecast for Thursday are exactly the kind of conditions that cause fires to behave erratically, to spread rapidly, and to outpace the resources trying to contain them. The window between the dangerous wind event and the arrival of meaningful rainfall is a critical one for fire crews, and it is a window that emergency management officials across Alberta are watching very closely. So here is where everything stands as we close out this forecast. A potentially record-breaking May low-pressure system is targeting the prairies on Thursday. Northern Alberta faces 30 to 60 millimeters of rainfall with a localized flooding risk. Wind gusts of 80 to 100 kilometers per hour and beyond will impact Alberta and Saskatchewan through Thursday, with those winds extending into southwestern Manitoba by late in the day. Friday brings 50 to 70 km per hour gusts to southern Saskatchewan and Manitoba as the system continues east. Overnight Thursday into Friday, rain transitions to snow.